Welcome back to the program. Next is our interview segment. Our guest on the program, a legal practitioner, Osahon Ihenyen, answers the questions on appointment of 36 ministers in Nigeria and, of course, other questions.
We need people who share the vision of the president. The president needs to get his team together. Yes, you might say the permanent secretaries have been doing the job, but they don't belong to the president's team. They might not have the ideas the president has. They will not be able to deliver, the president's objectives, and programs, as it were.
It doesn't seem there's been a halt in governance or in the administration of the ministries without the appointment of these ministers. Does this not show that really what we need is a stronger civil service and a more effective one?
We do not only need an effective civil service, we need a strong civil service. We need to build strong institutions, the EFCCs of this world, the ICPCs, and name it. We need to build strong institutions. And the civil service is also an institution that needs to be built. That is what we need. But you see, to a large extent, some people in the civil service, some people will tell you that even the problem of Nigeria is a problem created by civil servants. Because they believe that a lot of things get undone because of the civil servants. But having said that, I think that we need a strong civil service. We need a civil service that can deliver the objectives of the government of the day. But having said that, I think we also need people in the president's team to come on board as ministers. And so that, and of course, you need to also have people who will be appointed as or nominated by the president as ministers who will come from the different states of the federation. So Nigerians will have a sense of belonging. That cannot be reflected in the civil service.
Section 147 of the Constitution says that we must have at least one minister who is indigenous to each state. That means we must have 36 ministers. And we've been talking about cutting the cost of governance. Don't you think this section of the Constitution will hinder cutting the cost of governance?
We need to have the 36 states produce the 36 ministers. The reason being that apart from political, there's need for people who belong to these states to feel that, oh, we have somebody, as it were, in Abuja, a sense of belonging so that they will not feel left out in this entity called Nigeria. And I must say that what really drains the purse of the government are the loopholes where people steal money. You can use any word if you like. They can use the word misappropriation and all that, but actually what they do is that they steal.
There are speculations that the president might or will want to appoint 19 ministers, probably to cut cost. Don't you think it would be a better alternative? Well, I know you've just said that the appointment of ministers will not affect the cost of governance per se. But you know that the more people are appointed, the more salaries you pay, the more people that work under these ministers.
Yes, I think it will help, but it is not a reason for the kind of drain pipe we have. What we have, like I said earlier on, is the outright stealing that goes on in government. Yes, having 19 ministers will be nice because it will reduce the size of government. But that alone will not stop the excessive nature of government spending. What will stop the excessive nature of government spending, and of course the stealing, is a fight against corruption. For crying out loud, we need 36 ministers.
Why do we need 36 ministers?
That is because you need to comply with the provisions of the Constitution. And because I know that it is not the number of ministers, that is the 36. Minimum and maximum should be 36. Maximum, minimum should be 36 at every point in time.
Now, let's say the president wants more ministers, more than the 36 ministers. Can he have them?
There is no reason, no justifiable reason for the president to have more than 36 ministers. But he will be acting in line with the provisions of the Constitution if he has just 36. No more, no less.
All right. Now, the president has been president for the past about 2 months now, running to 2 months, and he has not appointed ministers. Is there a time frame in the Constitution? Because you tell us, the Constitution tells us that we should have 36 ministers. But does it tell us when we should have these ministers?
The president is voted for 4 years. And for 4 years, he should have his ministers with him. I think, if you ask me, the time this president was supposed to have appointed or nominated his ministers for the Senate to approve should have been 1st of June. He was sworn in on the 29th of May, which was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By 1st of June, I expected that the president would send his list of nominated ministers to the Senate. That has not been done. So if you ask me, 1st of June is the time the president was supposed to have nominated his ministers for the approval of the Senate. Like
I said earlier, it's the prerogative of the president to tell us or decide when he needs these ministers. For him, the permanent secretaries are probably just working well. So if we don't have a time frame for the appointment of ministers, it may not actually, if he decides that for now I still don't need these ministers, let me keep working with the permanent secretaries. For instance, if he has a fantastic relationship with all the permanent secretaries and they are working well.
Yes, they are working because civil servants are working and they will keep working. Nigeria cannot stop working because one president is out, another one is in. But like I said earlier on, the president has a team of people who campaign for him. He has a team of people who share his vision. He has a team of people who believe in him. He has a team of people who belong to his political party. And the political party is the one that contested the election. So the president cannot be an island by deciding to rule on his own without appointing ministers. And moreover, the Constitution says that when the president comes in, he will establish ministries and appoint ministers to those ministries. And moreover, the Constitution specifically mentioned the office of the Attorney General. Up to now, the president does not have an Attorney General. It's a breach of the Constitution. He's supposed to have an Attorney General who is going to be the chief law officer of the country. That has not been done. And we are going, we're gone more than a month now since he was sworn in, and 3 months, more than 3 months after he won an election. That is not good enough.
Well, I know that a lawyer recently took the president to court. So really, is that all that can be done?
That's what we call public advocacy. You can do all that. It depends on how the court decide to interpret the provisions of the Constitution with particular reference, in this instance, to Section 147, 1, 2, 3, and down, where the president is empowered to nominate ministers, send the names to the Senate for the Senate to approve. It depends on how the courts will interpret it. But if you ask me, I think that the proper thing for President Buhari to have done was to have sent his list of ministers on the 1st of June to the Senate. 1st of June. You can say, okay, granted, there was no Senate, there was no 8th Senate on the 1st of June. I think they were inaugurated about the 2nd or 3rd of June. I think immediately the Senate was inaugurated, the 8th Senate was inaugurated. The president should have sent his list of ministers.
You said that the president should have appointed or at least submitted the names of the ministers to the Senate for approval by 1st of June.
Yes.
Now, he has not done that. Don't you think that he's probably taking his time so that he would have credible and effective people that would work well in this administration?
If you ask me, I do not think that the president is just wanting to have the right people for the positions. That is the reason for the delay. I do not think that is the reason for the delay. The real reason, if you ask my personal opinion, is that there is a disagreement between some power blocks in the APC and the president as to the appointment of some major ministries: finance, attorney general, and minister of petroleum. That is the reason why, the president has not appointed ministers, because there's a disagreement. I think there's a particular power block in APC that wants those three offices, and the president, probably during the campaign, he accepted, but I haven't realized that, look, why should I have accepted this? He's now reneging on the agreement of giving that particular power block or leader of the party those three ministries. That is the reason, the underlying reason why they have not, Buhari has not appointed ministers.
Well, that's speculations.
Yes, it could be speculation, but I tell you, I believe very strongly that that is the reason.
And that will be our stop today on the program. Thank you so much for staying with us. You can watch the whole program again on our website. It's channelstv.com. You can please send in your comments to the address on your screen. See you again.